In the figure below, AB is equal to BC is equal to CD is equal to 10. What is the perimeter of the figure? So first of all, we know that we're trying to calculate the perimeter, and we know that AB and BC and CD are all equal. So that means that this length here, this length is 10, as well as this length here is also 10, and the length here is also 10. Now, how do we know that? Is because that it says AB, this length here, BC, this length here, and CD, this length here, is equal to 10. So we know that these lengths are 10, and the only missing lengths are these lengths, this, and this. Now, first of all, how do we know? How do we calculate this? Now, there are two ways. One way is that we can use a formula. The other way is a way we use sine or cos or tan. So first, I'm going to use the long way. So first of all, let's just draw an imaginary line here. Let's say this is a straight line, and let's say that this is a triangle and this is a triangle. We know that the angle here and the angle here are exactly the same. It says the angle is 60 degrees. So that means the triangle, both of them are exactly the same. Now, first of all, we need to know the length here. Let's just focus on one triangle because we know that both of them are the same. So later we can just multiply by 2. So first, what is the length here? It's 5. Why? Because we know that the length here is 10. And there are two of these. And so 10 divided by 2, which is half, is 5. So half of this is 5. So this is also 5 as well. And what we're trying to calculate the length in order to calculate the perimeter. So let's call this length h. We're trying to calculate the length here. So, are we going to use sine or cos or tan? Sine or so, ka, to, wa. So are we using sine or cos or tan? We're using sine because we're given the opposite and we're trying to calculate the hypotenuse. So sine 60 degrees is equal to, so means O divided by h. O is opposite, h represents hypotenuse. So O, which is 5, divided by h. Now we want to calculate what h is. So we move the h to the other side, and then 5 divided by sine 60 degrees, and we input it on the calculator. So I'm going to use my calculator for this, and I put 5 divided by 5 divided by sine 60 degrees, and that gives us 5.7735. This is the length. So the length h is 5.7735. And we know that the triangle and the lengths and the angles are all the same. So that means this length here is also 5.7735. So now we can add them all up and it will give us a perimeter. But here, look at the answers. The only complete answer is A. So let's see. 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30. And then plus 5.7735 times 2, because there are two of them, is going to be 11.547. And if we add them up, it's going to give us 41.547. Now you know that it's definitely not A. It's definitely not A because 50 is not 41.547. And now let's try B. So first of all, we must know what is 10 times square root 3. So this means 10 times square root 3. So let's put it on our calculator. 10 times square root 3, and it's going to give us 17.3205. 05, I mean, sorry. And then let's try adding 30. So if we add 30, is it going to be 41.547? Let's see. So we add 30, it's going to give us 47.3205. And that is not 41.547. So the correct answer is actually, let me write it down, is 41.547. And just now the answer was not. So B is incorrect. Now let's try C. 30 plus, what is 20 square root 3? 20 square root 3 means 20 times square root 3. Now 20 times square root 3 is going to give us 34. It's going to give us 34.641. Now we want to divide it by 3. So if we divide it by 3, it's going to be equal to 11.547. And if we add it up, 30 plus 11.547 is going to give us 41.547. So C is the correct answer. Now we know that D is definitely not correct since we tried all of them, so it's incorrect. Now there is another faster way. We know that the answer is C. Yes, it is C, but is there another faster way? Yes. Instead of using sine or cos or tan to calculate the length here, there is a very simple formula. So let me just erase all of these. So let's say I have a right angled triangle. Let's say I have a right angled triangle here. Okay, and this is the right angled. And then there is a special formula. So the shortest length here, do you see the shortest length? Of course, this is the shortest length. So this length is, let's say it is x. And the hypotenuse is always 2x. And the length here is always x times square root 3. It is always like that. So here, let's draw the imaginary line so that we have a right angle triangle so that we can use the formula. So let me just focus one triangle here. So again, let's see which one is the shortest side. This is the shortest side, so we call it x. And then the hypotenuse is 2x. So where's the hypotenuse? This is the hypotenuse. So this is 2x. And then this length here is x times square root 3. Now, do we know x or not? We don't know what x is. So how do we calculate what 2x is? So here, remember, we know that the length here is 5. And we know that the length is x times square root 3, and it is 5. So the length here, let's do an equation. So x times square root 3 is equal to 5. Now I want to calculate what x is. So x is 5 divided by square root 3. Now let's just write it out like this because there's no decimal here, so we can just write it out like that. It will save a lot more time. So we know that x is 5 over square root 3. Now what is 2x? 2x means 2 times x. So we know that 2 times x is 5 over square root 3. So we know that the length here, it is, what is 2 times 5? 2 times 5 is 10. So 10 over square root 3. Now I want to know the other length too. We know that they're exactly the same. So this length is also 10 over square root 3. Now, if I want to both of them combine together, I can write it out 10 over square root 3 times 2, which is 20 over square root 3. So we have 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 20 over square root 3. So 20 over square root 3 is combining 2 of the length, this length and this length. Both of them combined together is 20 over square root 3. So we have 30 plus 20 over square root 3. Now we know that the answer is C, but why is this and this different? They're actually the same. If you look at it, it's different, but they're actually the same. If you input them on the calculator, they're exactly the same. So the correct answer is C.